How are you guys doing? It is Friday, August 14th, 2020. I here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and this episode of The Elite, this will be my first one in my college dorm for my senior year. Doing it out in Durham now. And I'm going to start off with a lot of what happened yesterday. First, starting off with Champions League in the second quarterfinal matchup of Champions League. RB Leipzig took on Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid came in as the favorites in this one game matchup because the narrative is that RB Leipzig they were kind of not as strong without Timo Werner, who was their striker, who was one of the leading Bundesliga scorers last year, but now he plays for Chelsea. But they still scored 2 goals without him. To me, the goal of the game went to Dani Olmo, whose header eventually gave Leipzig the first goal. João Felix would get subbed in for Atletico Madrid. The young Portuguese star who many are saying may take over the team once Ronaldo leaves, but João Felix, he came in, made a big impact. He drew the penalty. He scored the penalty for Atletico Madrid, tying it up. And then Tyler Adams, the American, his goal, it would deflect off of an Atletico defender, but eventually his goal would give RB Leipzig the pass to go through into the semifinals. They're going to face off against PSG for a chance to face off against the winners of today's matchup and tomorrow's matchup. So that's what's going on there. I think the performance of the game really went to I think it just went to all of RB Leipzig. I think that was a good team performance. And it was Dani Olmo's goal, I think, which was the one that gave RB Leipzig that boost in the arm, the shot in the arm to give it. But Tyler Adams was the game winner, so I'd probably give Tyler Adams the play of the game. But that's what's looking like as of yesterday. But today, the third matchup, the most anticipated matchup of this Champions League season, is happening as the only two teams that are playing that have already won a Champions League are playing. Bayern Munich has 5 and FC Barcelona has 5 Champions League wins. They're going to face off today at 3 o'clock. I'm definitely going to be looking at that one. That's going to be a very, very, very big game, and I'll report on that tomorrow as it happens. But that's soccer. That's what's going on with Champions League. Now going on to the MLB. Not that many games that went on yesterday because it's Thursday. A lot of teams are kind of traveling on Thursdays. But I'm going to start with the NL East. The Washington Nationals took on the New York Mets, and the New York Mets were able to beat them 8-2. The win would go to their starting pitcher, David Peterson, who's now 3-1 on the season. He strike out 3, and he'd allow 0 earned runs, but there was still a run scored against him. As they were able to take this lead, they win, and they're now 9-11 in the NL East, and Washington is now 6-9. The one bright spot for them was their left fielder, their elite left fielder Juan Soto, who finished 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run, as he hit his 5th home run of the season. It was a very nice home run. For the Mets, their elite first baseman Pete Alonso would go 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Their catcher would go off. Of course, it would be Tomas Nido, who would go 2 for 4 with 6 RBIs and 2 runs. I mean, all 8 of the runs were either scored by him or brought in by him. Very, very big game for him. Big game for the Nationals overall. And going on to another matchup that happened in the East, the Phillies hosted the Orioles, and the Orioles were able to beat them 11-4. Big game, especially from Santander, who would finish 1 for 5 with 3 RBIs on the day. Their catcher, Severino, would finish 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his 4th home run of the season today. And for the Phillies, their lead right fielder, Bryce Harper, would finish 2 for 4 with 2 runs on the day. With his loss, the Phillies are now 5-9 as the Orioles now jump to 10-7 in the AL East. Very, very big lead. And staying out in the AL East, the Tampa Bay Rays were able to hang 17 runs on the Boston Red Sox, especially following a 5-run 3rd inning and a 6-run 6th. They're just simply too much. Zunino had 4 RBIs. That was off his grand slam. He went 1 for 5. Renfroe had finished 3 for 6 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs. He had 2 home runs on the day. Adames would finish 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Brandon Lau would finish 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs. He had his 5th home run of the season. Great hitting performance all around, and with this win, the Tampa Bay Rays are now 12-8 as the Boston Red Sox slip to 6-13 on the season. Now moving out to the Central, in an NL Central matchup, the Cincinnati Reds fell to the Pirates as the Pirates got their 4th win in their first 17 games of the season. Leading the way, it would be Josh Bell, who would finish 1 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. Big game for him. Big game for Adam Frazier, who hit a home run. He went 2 for 5. And with this win, I mean, it was a big win, much needed win for the Pirates. They scored 7 runs in the 7th inning, and they kind of just held on to that lead, even as the Reds chipped away at it. They just couldn't get the win. Nick Senzel, the Cincinnati center fielder, would finish 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs and a run as he hit his second home run of the season. And with this loss, the Cincinnati Reds are 8-11. Another NL Central matchup happened between the Chicago Cubs and the Milwaukee Brewers. The Chicago Cubs are now 13-3, and Yu Darvish picked up his 3rd win of the season. He was the pitching performer of the game as he held a no-hitter almost through the 7th inning before he gave it up on a solo home run to Smoke in the 7th. But he would finish the game pitching 7 full innings. Only allowing 1 run, 1 hit, walking 2 batters, striking out 11. And Schwarber would hit a home run for the Chicago Cubs. Javi Baez, their elite shortstop, would finish 0 for 4 with an RBI on the day. Just a big win for the Cubs. And with this loss, the Brewers fell to 7-10. Their left fielder, Christian Yelich, would finish 0 for 3 on the night. Smoke would have 2 hits on the day, but he would be the only bright spot for the team as the Brewers are now 7-10 and the Cubs still hold their lead in the NL Central. Now going to the last game of the night in the NL West matchup between the San Diego Padres and the Los Angeles Dodgers. History was made last night as Johnny Mize and Sammy Sosa and now Mookie Betts are the 3 players in MLB history with 6 career 3 home run games. First of all, the Padres scored both of their runs in the first inning. And Julio Urias would pick up the win. He would pitch 6 innings, only allowing 2 runs, striking out 3. For the San Diego Padres, their shortstop Fernando Tatis would finish 0 for 3 on the night after striking out once. Manny Machado would go 0 for 3. Not that big of a game for the Padres. But for the Dodgers, first I'm gonna start off with this. Their right fielder Mookie Betts would finish 4 for 4 with 4 runs and 5 RBIs. He had 3 home runs on the day. Now this season, Mookie Betts has 7 home runs on the season. Cody Bellinger, their first baseman, would finish 0 for 3 with a walk and a strikeout. But, of course, with 3 home runs helping the Dodgers get the win there, Mookie Betts was most definitely the best hitter of the night. And that's all that happened with baseball yesterday. Not that many games, but just to give you a little bit of insight into what games to look forward to today. Especially as the season's progressing, and I'm pretty sure the St. Louis Cardinals are officially coming back. But just to start off, Steven Strasburg is going to make yet another start as the Nationals face off against the Orioles. Jacob deGrom is sitting at 2-0, is looking for his 3rd win as he faces off against the Phillies. Garrett Cole is looking for his 4th win as the Yankees take on the Red Sox at 7 o'clock. Additionally, Sonny Gray, who's sitting at 3-1, is looking for his 4th win as the Reds take on the 4-13 Pittsburgh Pirates. Additionally, Lance Lynn, who's had an amazing start to the season, looking for his 3rd win of the season as they take on the Rockies at 8:40. Dinelson Lamet, who's got off to an amazing start for the Pirates, facing off against Merrill Kelly of the Diamondbacks, who's had a great start himself. Patrick Sandoval is going to make a start for the Angels as they face off against the Dodgers in Anaheim this time as Kershaw's looking for his 2nd win of the season at 9:40. Frankie Montas is going to face off against Johnny Cueto as the Bay Area rivalry takes off as the Oakland A's face off against the San Francisco Giants. A lot of good baseball matchups today, and the Cardinals won't start against the White Sox until tomorrow, or until tomorrow. Yeah, on tomorrow, which is Saturday. But that's what there is to look forward to in baseball. Now I'm going to jump out to basketball. First, starting with the WNBA after yesterday's games. Kia Nurse put up 21 points for the New York Liberty, but it wasn't enough as Tiffany Mitchell led the Indiana Fever to their 4th win of the season, beating the Liberty 86-79. Additionally, the LA Sparks are now sitting at 6-3 after beating the Mystics 81-64, led by Nneka Ogwumike's 12 points. In the last game of the night, the Las Vegas Aces, led by Aja Wilson's 23, were able to beat the Lynx 87-77. Nafisa Collier played really well, put up a good performance, 21 points and 14 rebounds, but the Lynx now fall to 6-3 after losing by 10 to the Aces. Now jumping into basketball, as the regular season is dwindling, And some teams have already solidified their playoff positioning, and other players are just resting. I mean, some of these games are just kind of filler, but there were still some good games to be played. First game that happened last night was between the Washington Wizards and the Boston Celtics. For the Celtics, their shooting guard Javonte Green would finish with 23 points, as they gave him the start. He didn't disappoint, especially. But for the Washington Wizards, it would be Thomas Bryant, the center from Indiana, who has scored 26 points, have 9 rebounds, 4 steals on the night, shooting 10 for 15 to help the Wizards get their win. They're definitely out of the playoffs, and the Celtics are already in. Not much really riding on this game. Another one between the Sacramento Kings and the Los Angeles Lakers. Kings are already out. Lakers are already in. For the Lakers, LeBron James would play 15 minutes. He finished with 17 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists as he shot 6 for 13 from the field. Additionally, Talen Horton-Tucker would finish with 14 points as he played 34 minutes. Dion Waiters would score 19 as he would lead this team in scoring. But for the Kings, their big performance would come from Buddy Hield off the bench with 28 points in 26 minutes. Bogdan Bogdanovic would finish with 27 as well. With this win, not much really falling on this one. The Kings are already out. The Lakers are already in. So another game between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Memphis Grizzlies, whereas the Bucks weren't really trying. There was no point in really. At this point, it was best for them to rest their players because they do have the number 1 seed in the East. But for them, Brook Lopez would score 19 points in 20 minutes. Frank Mason III off the bench would finish with 18 points in 26. For the Grizzlies, Jonas Valanciunas would finish with 26. Ja Morant had 12 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists, getting a triple-double for his team to try to will his team to the playoffs as a rookie, as the team's leader, as a rookie in his first year. I still think that's impressive. Or at least got them into the playoff where they clinched with the Phoenix Suns, but he was able to help them do that. Dylan Brooks had 31 points. But great finish by the Grizzlies, and I think it was a great performance by Ja to help the Grizzlies get to this spot where they can play. They have a chance to play against the Trailblazers and make the playoffs. All right, going next to the Mavericks and the Suns. The Mavericks aren't really competing for anything. They're already in the playoffs. But Luka Doncic would finish with 18 points and 5 rebounds in 13 minutes. But the Phoenix Suns would beat them by 26. They beat them 128-102. For the Suns, Devin Booker would finish with 27 points in 32 minutes, shooting 11 for 20 from the field. And with this, the Suns, they finished 8-0 in the bubble, but because they were still behind the Trailblazers and the Grizzlies, they wouldn't be able to play for a spot in the playoffs. But it was a very impressive performance. Devin Booker, I tip my hat. Great summer. And I don't know, I'm not going to underestimate you from this moment forward. Going on, the Utah Jazz beat the San Antonio Spurs. In this game, Keldon Johnson would score 24 for the Spurs. The Jazz, of course, would win. They'd have a really deep bench. Their leading performer was Rajon Tucker, the shooting guard off the bench. He finished with 18 points. And with this win, they're kind of just sitting where they are. Additionally, the Orlando Magic took on the New Orleans Pelicans. For the Pelicans, Frank Jackson would be their leading scorer with 31 points as starting, and then Nickeil Alexander-Walker would finish with 29 points. For the Magic, it would be Vucevic with 23 points while he was starting, and DJ Augustine at 22 off the bench. Magic are still a playoff team, but it was a good win for them. A good way for them to finish out the regular season before they get thrashed by the Bucks. And then the last game, of course, I'm going to go to the performance and the play of the night. The Brooklyn Nets and the Trailblazers were both really competing that last night. For the Nets, Karis LeVert would finish with 37 points. The Nets would score 133 points in a great game. Timothé Luwawu-Cabarrot would finish with 19 points off the bench. But the Trailblazers would come through with this win. TJ McCollum would have 25 points because they were playing to be one of the play-in spots. McCollum finished shooting 9 for 21 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3, but he still had 25 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists, along with 3 steals. Yusuf Nurkic finished with 22 and 10 rebounds. Damian Lillard, their point guard, their elite point guard, would finish with 42 points, 3 rebounds, and 12 assists, shooting 13 for 22 from the field, 8 for 14 from 3, 8 for 9 from the free throw line. And he eventually had a steal down the stretch when the Trailblazers were up 132-130. And eventually sealed it for the Portland Trailblazers to make it into the playoffs. He deserved the play of the day, and he was the performer of the day. Great performance from Damian Lillard, and then I'll just give you a little bit of insight into what games are going to be played today. The last games are between the Nuggets and the Raptors at 1:30. The Heat play the Pacers at 4. The Thunder play the Clippers at 6:30. The Sixers play the Rockets. These are all regular season games, and the play-in game is going to be scheduled. It's going to be scheduled officially. It hasn't been set yet, but the playoffs start on Monday, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a rundown as soon as they set up the play-in game, and then I'll just kind of go through that. But with that said, I'm going to jump right to hockey as just to finish off. This is have you run down and went down. We'll just run down with you when it went down. First, the Blue Jackets took the Lightning 3-1 as they evened up the series. They were led by their goalie who only allowed one goal, Jonas Corposalo, who had the game before, but this time he showed that he's one of the best goalies, especially in the NHL. Also, the Golden Knights beat the Las Vegas Golden Knights beat the Chicago Blackhawks at home, or in game 2 to take the 2-0 series in overtime. They're of course led by their right winger Riley Smith as he finished with a goal and an assist. Much needed win for the Vegas Golden Knights as they're one game closer to the next round. Also, the Carolina Hurricanes even their series with the Boston Bruins, beating them 3-2. Of course, led by their right winger Andrei Svechnikov. Sorry if I butchered your name. I think I'm not sure. He finished with a goal and an assist on the night. And with this, the Hurricanes, like I said, are tied with the Bruins. And the last game of the night, the Dallas Stars were able to even up their series with the Calgary Flames. They beat them 5-4. Dallas defenseman Miro Heiskanen would finish with finish with 2 goals on the night, as this is a very big win for Dallas, and right now that's what the series is looking like right now. And now looking into what games to look out for today. First off, the Arizona Coyotes are gonna face up against the Colorado Avalanche, as the Colorado Avalanche lead that series 1-0. The Coyotes are looking to even the series. Sitting at 3:00. The Canadians are going to take on the Flyers. The Philadelphia currently leads that series 1-0. The Canucks take on the Blues at 6:30. Vancouver leads that one. Vancouver won the first game. They're looking for their second win. The Islanders face off against the Capitals, and the Islanders are looking to go up 2 games as they're currently at 1-0. And the last game at 10:30 is going to be game 3 of the Stars and the Flames. Both teams trying to get the second win, trying to get the edge over the other. But that's what sports is looking like right now. There's a lot to look forward to with soccer, basketball, baseball, and hockey, and the WNBA. I mean, that goes under basketball. But with that said, I really appreciate you for listening to all 18 minutes of this. This is The Elite. I'm James Sims. Thanks for hearing my piece. Peace out.